Hi, welcome to What the Flick in exciting chairs. Matt has feet and cool socks. I'm Christy, that is Matt, and we're going to talk about the Ben-Hur remake.
Yes.
Kind of like the old Ben-Hur.
The second or third Ben-Hur remake,
Yes.
depending on how you're counting. So Ben-Hur, this is a modern version or an updated version of the classic story from, I think it's the late 1800s, was when General Lew Wallace wrote this book, which up until the time that Gone with the Wind got sold, it was one of the most popular books in America. This is a story about a prince of Judea named Judah Ben-Hur, and he is a very reluctant spokesperson, sort of, for Judeans as Rome is kind of trying to, this is the time of the Roman occupation of Israel, or what was then Judea, right around the time of Christ. And Judah's story is kind of a parallel to what's happening with Jesus at that time. His best friend kind of betrays him. He gets sold into slavery, comes back, wants his revenge, and maybe has a spiritual journey. Let's watch a trailer.
My family was betrayed by my own brother. I won't let him go unpunished for what he's done to us.
There is a way. Defeat your brother in the arena, and you'll have your vengeance.
Should have stayed away.
You should have killed me.
People would follow you. I would follow you.
Give them a shame they will understand. Start a revolution to free us all.
Are we having fun now, brother? Come on! Go!
Oh, also, there's a chariot race.
Oh, yes.
I buried the lead.
And what's
Sorry.
interesting is that in the many narrative tweaks here, they start with the chariot race and then flash back to,
Right.
You're probably wondering how we got here.
Right.
Like they tease it with that. The thing you want to see, they tease it out the top,
Right.
They've made a lot of changes here.
They made a lot of changes, and I
Not
gotta say,
always for the better.
not always for the better,
No.
but this movie kind of works.
Does it?
I think it kind of does. It's not. Listen, I expected this to be terrible. I expected to come into this and think, oh God, you're remaking a classic spectacle.
Right.
And we'll get to this in another review because we've watched the 1959 version, which has its own problems. But this movie, for what it sets out to do, and really focus on kind of the spiritual transformation of Judah Ben-Hur, I think it kind of maps it out relatively well, and actually does, if not a better job, at least makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more kind of believable in this particular version than the Charlton Heston version. That being said, they completely dropped the ball at the end.
Well,
the ending is so irritating.
it does what so many movies do now, where there's just not a lot of faith in us. Ha ha! See what I did there? It's not a lot of
Right.
faith in us, because it has to over-explain what we
Right.
have just witnessed and the dulcet tones of Morgan Freeman. He
Right.
has to tell us about what happened.
One of the rules
we
of
just saw.
filmmaking, there's a general rule in storytelling, which is show, don't tell.
Yeah.
And this movie does a lot of telling at the end.
From the very beginning, it does a lot of telling, and
Yeah.
it's only 2 hours long, right? It's not 3 hours and 42 minutes or whatever.
Right.
And I'm usually a big fan of brevity and getting to the point and all that. But here's an example where the journey that Ben-Hur takes in the Charlton Heston version, for example, like there's depth to it, there's resonance to it, and there are subplots that matter more, like all the stuff with his mom and his sister, and the way that plays out in a longer form, and there are revelations along the way with that. Here, that whole really crucial part of the story is pretty quick, as far as how they do what they do. I'm not going to say.
Right.
It's too quick, and so there's a resonance missing. There's a poignancy missing in the name of really efficient, lean, like action-packed storytelling. Like if you like Ben-Hur but wish it had more shaky cam, this is for you. This is very much a product of modern filmmaking, for better and for worse. Like,
Well, but it is, right? And I think that if you're going to take, appeal to a modern, younger audience, right, that is maybe doesn't have the patience or doesn't speak the language to sit through a 3.5 hour movie, this one is at least, this is not a terrible introduction to this story. Now, that being said, having just watched the
Right.
59 version with my 12-year-old, he was into it. So
For the whole time?
For the whole time, which is not to say that you can't come in and watch the 59 version with, from a younger point of view. But I didn't hate this movie. I mean, again, right up to the end. There's a shot where I thought if they ended it on that shot, it would have been much better. And then you get another 5 or 6 minutes, and it's almost
explaining to you what just happened.
It's like, imagine the 18 endings to Lord of the Rings with a narration telling you every little bit that's happening and why it matters.
Right, how you should feel.
Yeah,
it's a feel-good Ben-Hur.
It goes from a decent enough kind of faith-based B movie to a movie of the week, and with that ending, and the coda is so irritating.
Produced by Mark
Downey.
Burnett and Roma Downey, and they do a lot of Christian films, and so I mean, yes, this is like the other Ben-Hur, very much a validation of faith, an affirmation of faith, right? But then they have to just like hammer you. We should talk really fast about Jack Houston.
I think he was good in this.
He's really good in this, yeah. And he actually is British, by the way, even though he is a Houston. He was raised in England, so he actually has the accent.
He's good. Toby Kebbell's good.
He's always a bad guy. You see Toby Kebbell.
Right.
He can never be a good guy.
Rodrigo Santoro is, I thought, pretty good.
Hottest Jesus ever.
Yeah,
right.
This one.
Hot Brazilian Jesus.
This one kind of worked for me. I mean, this is not a great film, but as faith-based movies go, this isn't terrible.
Timur Bekmambetov.
Yeah.
I just like saying the name.
Yeah, who's an interesting director.
I mean, I don't know. I think he does a lot of the cogs and machinery of the CGI in a way that's kind of generic, right? Like, having said that, the chariot race is thrilling the way you want it to be.
Right.
It is the thing you're looking forward to, but
right. And the sea battle scene, that's a good scene. That's a well done scene.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like glossy and kind of emotionally empty. And again, if there had never been a previous Ben-Hur, would I feel
wouldn't
this
say it's
way?
emotionally empty. I found myself a little bit moved in it.
Yeah.
I
the
went
shot
with
you're
it a little bit
talking
more.
about.
Just the whole movie, but that particular shot at the end, that worked for me. And then they kept going, and then kind of took it all away.
Okay. So what is your number then?
My number is a 5.
Okay, I'm saying 4.8. We're very close. 4.8. Right. So 4.9 is our average.
Yeah, and it's in the 30s on the tomato meter. That's lower than it deserves.
Yeah. And so next week, Alonzo and Ben, you probably want to know what they think about Ben-Hur also. We're gonna all come back and do the old Ben-Hur. Maybe you guys sometimes ask us to talk about old movies. We might do this one, winner of 11 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. So we'll come back and maybe talk about that through the prism of this. Do-do-do. Thanks, bye.